Yeah, I mean, last year obviously redshirting, it was, kind of took basketball for granted. I didn't, it was tough. It was tough to sit out a year. I love basketball, so it was great to come out here and, have a start. And, early in the game, we had to be more aggressive and figure it out. And, I'm glad with the result.
Ben, right over here, guys.
For John Blackwell, I know there's a lot of time left in the game, but when you look at the scoreboard and you're down 16 points early, what kind of goes through your mind of where this night could be going if you guys don't sharpen things up on both ends of the floor?
I don't think I really worry about that. I think I just worry about there's a lot of basketball to be played. Doesn't matter how much they're up. And I trust our guys. We've been down before. Kind of a new starting lineup, but some of the same guys on the team, like we've been down before and we've came back. So I think we were good. My emotions weren't too high, too low. It was just level.
Michael?
John, again, what changed with the defensive intensity after that start? It seemed like you guys were getting a lot more deflections, kind of getting up in guys. Like, what changed about how you guys approached that end?
I think it started with Kamari McGee coming out the gate. His defense intensity is what sets it for us. I mean, he's a spark plug. We love him off the bench. I think it started with him, and then we just feed off his energy.
In the back?
Nolan, you've never been a big back to the basket guy. Just how big was that stretch you had in the second half just to kind of get comfortable with some of the skills, Wisconsin's trying to develop out of you?
Yeah, for sure it was a little confidence booster, knowing that, it's a new season for me and I'm going to kind of play a little differently than I kind of have in the past and more specifically last year. Coaches have done a great job with me and I thank them a lot for just kind of instilling that just kind of thought that I can have my back to the basket and working with Coach Snyder in the weight room, putting on weight, being able to operate out of there. So, yeah, that was fun.
Go ahead.
John Blackwell, you're stepping into a bigger role this year. What preparations in the offseason did you make to set yourself up for this season?
I think I worked on my conditioning a lot. Obviously, coming into a bigger role, you're going to play a lot more minutes, so you have to be in shape for that. And then I just really worked on off-the-court stuff with my leadership and just being mentally prepared for whatever comes this year. Not hanging my head if I have a bad game. So, because my team needs me and they trusted me to go, be the leader on the team. So, yeah.
Let's go with Ben.
Nolan, what does Tanji add to your roster, to your offense, especially a new piece this year? He seems to kind of meld very well with you guys so far.
Age. He's old. He's the dad of the team. He's living here. He's drinking coffee in the morning. So he just brings that veteran presence to the squad. Obviously on the court, having him out there, he's been around a time or two. So he brings shooting. I mean, we see it tonight. Great shooter. He can get to the free throw line whenever he wants. It's always good to have a guy like that on the court that can slow it down for us, get him the rock, and just let him operate. He's fun to play with for sure.
Good answer. Michael?
John, Tanji, obviously Greg didn't seem too pleased with the defense against River Falls in the exhibition beforehand. I guess, how often since you've been here have you seen the defense truly clicking? Maybe it's a period of the game, and I guess what does that look like, and how close is it to how you guys played in that last 33 minutes?
Yeah, every day we're trying to get better. We're learning from the last game and just building every day. So it's just we're going to learn from the film and just continue to try to improve every single day.
John Blackwell, I want to kind of follow up. You were kind of talking about the increase in defensive pressure, and you mentioned Kamari. But I guess I'm wondering, in terms of limiting what Holy Cross was doing, what was kind of the goal? What were some of the things after they got off to that hot start where maybe in the huddle, coach or guys are saying, hey, this is what we really need to kind of, clamp down on to slow them down?
Yeah, obviously, what was his number? 21 came out hitting a lot of threes. So run him off the line and just their big man, he was getting to the paint, wheeling and dealing. So just having gap presence and getting more ball pressure and just shutting them down, no second chance points was really, really key for us going into the second half too and in the first half.
Go ahead, Jim.
Nolan, because you guys have so many new guys, do you think it's going to be a little bit of a roller coaster ride this season, especially early?
Yeah, I think. I mean, that's just college basketball now. Everyone's got new pieces, and it takes time to learn from one another and learn how just chemistry, how one plays. But I think where we're at now, obviously like with JT, X, Cam Hunter, who was sick today, we're learning and practicing every day, open gyms in the summer. That helped a lot. So I think this game was a step in the right direction for sure.
Obviously, you guys watch the game, so I don't know if I have to go into too much detail of the flow of it, but I thought after that first 10 minutes or so, defensively got better. Kamari McGee was a big part of that in terms of his ball pressure and ability to get through ball screens. And then John Tanjay obviously attacking the rim and getting to the free throw line got us going. And second half, I thought we were better defensively. And hopefully that as you go through a season, you grow from half to half. And this group understands, obviously, I think we can score. How we continue to grow defensively will be extremely important. But there's some good things out there. That Nolan Winter really played pretty well. He's starting to come into his own a little bit, and I thought he did some good things. So we'll look through the tape, and I'm sure I'll learn more from it. Obviously, Warren was labeled as a non-shooter in our scouting report, so that went out the window after the third one. But just defensively, not finishing in the paint or missing wide open threes, and then having them come in transition there early to get some confidence. And obviously he felt confident, but I like how we responded and battled back and grew defensively as the game wore on, and I think warmed down significantly. So we got a long ways to go, but I liked the response when things weren't going well early. Questions?
Nick?
Hey, Greg, you touched on it a little bit, especially with Kamari, but how did kind of that intensity from Kamari, I think Max had a couple steals, John Tanjay, just how did that turn the tides a little bit?
Yeah, that was important, and we talked about that. We looked at we had drawn 6 or 7 fouls on them, but I always judge to defensive physicality on how many fouls we have, and we had 2. So I said, hey, we got to be more physical, crank it up, get into them more. So as we did that, we were able to get them back on their heels a little bit and shut off the hot start that they had. So it was important. It starts with ball pressure. I mean, that's obviously Cam is good because he's built low to the ground and quick and physical and can get up and get under guys, and then other guys kind of fed off of that. Max and Tanjay is still learning what defense needs to be at this here, but some better things as time went on.
Michael?
You have the ability to put a fair amount of length on the floor. When the defense is clicking and everybody's rotating right, are deflections going to be something that you guys are able to do pretty well?
You hope so. If there are breakdowns, I mean, we got beat baseline a couple times and didn't either over rotated and didn't cover, didn't sink, and gave up some drift passes for threes. Once we got them out of transition, but I think when there is a breakdown, yeah, I mean, we have some length. I think that's one of the strengths of this team. We can not only at the 4 and the 5, but we can mix and match. And obviously, John Tanjay is a pretty big wing, so a lot of versatility with it. That I'm still learning those. Who's 7, 8, 9. I thought Xavier did some good things. Thought even Marcus, he's practiced well. I wanted to get him in sooner, but the defensive stability that Gilmore gives us is, he's an anchor that I can count on defensively until we get, the ship righted, so to speak. I trust him on that end of the floor.
Let's go with Ben.
Greg, was there some gentle nudging by you for you guys to kind of attack the rim a little bit more? Because I think you missed like 8 or 9 straight threes, and then right around the 12-minute mark, you guys made a consistent effort to attack the rim. That's kind of where your offense started to turn a little bit.
Right. Yeah, and that's what I talked about with, between that, attacking the rim, getting to the free throw line. I think we had 4 or 5 guys with 2 fouls, so we got some guys to the bench. And then that coincided with us defensively becoming more aggressive, more physical, into the ball more, and we were able to push them out and get them on their heels.
Jim, right here, Coach.
Are you expecting a little bit of a roller coaster ride this season just because you have so many new faces, and this game was one of them. I mean, that was
Yeah, I think you look across college basketball. I'm watching a little bit of Purdue, Texas A&M, Corpus Christi earlier tonight, and it's just early. And I think they've got some familiar faces, but they've also got to go through some reestablishing roles, and I think we all go through it in some way, shape, or form. Specifically, probably even more so in today's world, just because of the transient nature of everybody's roster, that you're learning on the fly and you're having to grow on the fly. A set all returning team and hit the ground running is, I don't know if there are any. We'll see as time goes on, but I think if you just focus on the simple things, Jim, and specifically for us, offense will take care of itself. We'll schematically move people around and get them in their strengths and their wheelhouses, but defensively, the identity of this group, and most of them know it and understand it, and it's a matter of, it's got to be there all the time, and and when we don't have it, can we get somebody off the bench that comes in and gives us a spark and changes the tide of the game, which we were able to do tonight and get some momentum going. But I said I don't like the start. I like the response, but I obviously didn't like the start, and it's a good lesson for us.
Right in front of your coach.
How you doing, Greg? In years past, you've been pretty consistent with your starting lineups. I'm curious if how committed you are to this specific starting lineup, and how long you would be a change, at least somewhat soon.
You want to start? I mean, it's. Do you have any ideas for me? No, I think obviously I have people in position I felt have given us the best chance and been the most consistent. In terms of Cam McGee's position, he gives us a heck of a boost off the bench like he did tonight. I think that's the only one that I've jockeyed back and forth. Our first scrimmage I started him, second one I didn't. But he's still, that for what he did tonight, 4 assists, 1 turnover, and I don't know if I've ever seen a plus. Not that I really marry myself to the plus minus, but plus 35. I don't know if I've seen that on a box score before. So just he impacts the game. You saw it tonight, how he was able to, and having somebody like that can. And I can plug him in different play, and I can plug him for other people. We played small for a while. I had Tanjay at the 4, and Gilmore a little bit at the 5 when we went smaller. So I think he allows me to move people up and down the lineup, even though maybe he doesn't I don't sub him for a point guard per se. I can sub him for one of the bigs, and we change the look of and mobility of us across the front line. So it's really an as what's needed basis, I think, is what I look at. And I don't get consumed with who's starting. They understand they all have a role. And what I talked to them about before the game today was never has there been more of an importance and how vital it is for a group of guys to come together as a team. And in today's era, when there's the movement, there's going to be talent on every roster, and you're going to see talented teams that maybe don't come together. And all their thoughts, all their actions, I want them focused on what's best for our team. And there's going to be nights when individual talent has to come to the forefront, and that will happen. But I think that's the biggest challenge right now we face as coaches across the country, is when you have to hit restart, so to speak. How can you get that? You've seen the history of here. We've had guys here 4 years, 5 years, sitting in the incubator crock pot just waiting, and we're in a different world. So the challenge with that is, how do you get the chemistry and the togetherness to be at the forefront of their goals and their vision? And you have to have unselfish people. That's how you start with that. And so that was my main message to him tonight as we go on this journey over the next 5.5 months, whatever it is. We have to be together, because it's going to be different people and different nights. And who starts, in my mind, I've never talked about it or made a big deal of who is starting. It's I've subbed quick, and I've subbed deep into the first part of before the first media. So everybody knows they need to be ready.
We have one more. Michael, go ahead.
You talked about how the bench players came in and boosted the starting group. I guess, how do you get more intensity right off the bat from that group of five that, Max and John were able to show later in the game as the bench started coming in and giving some energy?
Well, that's a player-driven thing. Part of it. Let's give credit to the players from Holy Cross that made shots too. There were some things defensively we didn't do, but they took advantage of it. So I don't want to completely pin it all and not give them credit because Warren was able to make some shots, and I thought we did a decent job. A really good job on Nugent, who led that league in three-point shooting. Really good job on Kenny. So, other than the start, and I think this is for a guy like Nolan Winter guarding that. It's probably our fault for labeling him a non-shooter because he hadn't made threes. That wasn't what he'd done in his career, so he took advantage of it. But it's good for Nolan too he hit one. Now we've got to go play him. And then he caught us in transition a couple times where I'll have to see who could have matched with him. But he's not the first guy you identify with when you're coming in transition. We're running to Nugent. We're running some of these other guys. So it's part of learning and growing as the game goes on. I thought we did a better job, later identifying him, and we threw like I said, the non-shooter on the report got trashed midway through the first half. So just coming out and establishing ourselves better, even on the offensive end, I think that'll help set the tone better. And if I need to mix and match lineups, I'm not always ever opposed to doing that, but just starting better, starting faster. And that's what this group's got to figure out. What are the key things, and what are teams trying to do? They doubled us in a different way tonight. Not that we didn't catch us by surprise, but it was until we, you got to make some shots behind those double teams too, and that'll change the course of a game. But so that's why it's a team sport. You're dependent on all individuals to come in and contribute whenever they get their opportunity.
I guess we got one more coming
Ben.
from Ben.
15 hit a big shot for you guys late. Just curious maybe it's not as a coach, but as a dad.
It's a credit to him for he's put time into it. He's made himself a better player. He's gotten bigger and stronger. It's amazing what a weight room 4 days a week will do for somebody. And I think the thing that I'm sitting there as standing there I'm trying to get guys in the game. And I knew the shot clock was winding down a little bit, and just the reaction of his teammates, because to them, he's coach's son, but he's one of the guys, and they know at home he's my son, but in practice he's one of the guys, and so it's neat. It's obviously cool for him, and I'm sure. I don't think his mom was at the game tonight, so I'm sure she'll be pissed at me for her not being here to see it live, but no, you always, for those moments, he puts in just as much work as anybody else. He's in that weight room, he's running the hill, and it's hard. It's hard being a coach's kid, and what I haven't been able to be present all the time as he was growing up, and our other two kids as well, to have this time with him. Day after day is, you're not making up for time, but I didn't want to lose any more time. And he's also proven he's a handful some days when he's running off screens and banging threes, and he gives John Tanjay nightmares at times if he gets loose. And he gets one going a little bit. I know you guys were in practice one day when he went bananas. He starts feeling it. He just lets him fly, and just the team around him. That's the neat part to watch, how they are happy for him, and I'm happy for him too. And the time goes fast, so you have to enjoy it, because you won't be able to coach your son forever.